Yes, you are seeing double. This is a double episode. I recorded this particular podcast twice. Each version has things in it that are good for you to know, interesting. Um, so go ahead, if you can stomach it, listen all the way through. I'll put in places where you can jump around. If you actually make it all the way through, you will get to see different areas that you can visit in a Dcraft world. Remember, Dcraft is available on CurseForge. Also, this is all for your entertainment and information. This is not advice. This worked for me. It may not work for you. So stay safe in your investing endeavors. And now, on to seeing double. Howdy. We are coming to you from the Nether, courtesy of Minecraft. So, if this doesn't look like your normal nether, it's because it's not. It's got biomes aplenty and better nether mods installed. So if you've never had these installed, here is a brief look. But that is not why we are here today. This is part of the Jess Talkin' podcast series. So I'm going to stop frittling around, settle down, and start today's commentary. Again, Jess Talkin' is a podcast. It is commentary. It is not law. It is not investigated necessarily well. It is my opinions, my thoughts, my experiences. I do try and fact check as much as possible, but that is not always, well, gee, in this day and age, possible, because who knows what's real and what's not on the internet. For starters, this is about retirement and investment and all the good things that go along with that, getting you into the correct mindset to start. This is not, I repeat, not financial advice. I am not an expert. I am relating my story as it applies to the subject. So, without further ado, if you remember parts 1 and parts 2, we went over some of the basics about why and how to get into your head about investing. And we are going to continue today. And we are going to start out with, and this may get loud. I may have to turn this down because the nether does get quite loud, and so does the music, just so you know. Number 7, there will be ups and downs. Retake. Number 7, there will be downs as well as ups. You need to be able to deal with watching your portfolio shrink on occasion. This happens in any market. You need to ride out the lows. Remember, if you sell at a lower point than you bought in on, you are losing value. Remember that value perspective that we talked about, and the lifetime perspective we talked about in the last video. Cryptocurrencies historically have seen 40 to 50% drops in the market on a regular basis. And this is where I'm going to scare the pants off you, because it doesn't happen over months, weeks, even days. It can happen in hours. Last bull cycle, my portfolio went from about $38,000 of various cryptos to $16,000 in 2 hours. It was nearly impossible to get my transactions through. There was so much business going on the internet with cryptos. So you have to get into the things you can handle, stay out of the things you are not willing to deal with, because you will have to wear diapers if you join crypto. No ifs, no ands, no buts. See, I made a butt joke. But yes, there will be downs as well as ups. You're going to have to ride out what they call bear markets. So a bear market is one where values are dropping, prices are dropping, stocks, crypto, anything can drop. Bull cycles are upwards trending markets. So if you watch any of the graphs on various markets. If it's trending to the upper right, that's a bull market. If it's trending to the lower right, you're probably in a bear market cycle, especially if it happens over weeks or months. That said, everything in crypto happens way faster, and crypto runs 24/7. There are no breaks. No breaks. And it can happen fast. So, again, you need to be able to, one, ride through, and two, don't get into something you can't handle. Number 8, with all markets, diversify. Tech stocks. Everybody loves tech stocks. What happens when the tech market goes bust? Blows up like the .com did. You probably aren't old enough to remember. Some of you might, but I'm betting the majority of you were not even born, weren't thought of when the .com bubble went bust. So diversify, get into different things, get into medical, get into tech, get into financial stocks, get into ETFs, get into mutual funds, get into power, get into retail, get into services, a little bit of everything. Ten items may not make as much as one that you hit on the nose, but you won't lose as much either. So retail is down, finance is up, and manufacturing is level. Chances are you will be making somewhat more than you are losing. If you put money only in retail commodities, you will lose money, period, when that sector crashes, and you will have to wait out the storm. This applies not just to stocks or crypto, this applies to everything. So not only do you want to diversify in your investment choice, mine in particular is the stock market. Oh, there's one of those ghasts floating out there. I may be getting hit with fireballs soon. And we'll have to cut this section out. Just a warning. Anyhow, don't just diversify in whatever your investment area is. Diversify over different investment areas. Get some precious metals. Get some stocks. Get a little bit of crypto. Maybe buy some land. Get a rental. Invest in a business. Who knows? Get a franchise. Not restaurants. Restaurants bad. Something. Get into a couple different things. Have different, what they call income streams. That's where you get a little bit of money here, a little bit of money here, from doing different things, preferably ones that once you fire them, they just work. So fire and forget. It's a weapons term. It's a military terminology. So one of the things I'm working on, of course, is YouTube videos. I put them up, and once they're up, I don't have to do much maintenance. They, in theory, will eventually get to a point where they will be making money. Whether it is through advertising or whether it is through products I create in other areas and promote here, that has yet to be seen. I'm several videos in, and I've got a ways to go. They say it takes somewhere around 2 years or 100-ish videos before you start seeing ad revenue. I'm not even certain if I'm going to make it to ad revenue, much less am I going to do anything with the ad revenue. But if I can make the criteria, it's a good thing to have in my back pocket in case I need it. Another thing I've got going is some of you may not know that I am a bit of an artist. I used to teach watercolor painting. I have watercolor paintings, and I've got a box full of watercolor paintings just sitting here. I'm going to get them all digitized and set up, and I will have a Fine Arts America website. And you will be able to buy products with my paintings. So that's another thing. Once it's set up, you just let it run and collect the money. I make coloring books using AI, among other things. I mean, I can draw, but AI really helps with formulating ideas, and this is going. I can tell this is going to get annoying with him out there crying. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Just a second. Let me go take care of this. Where did you go? I just saw you. Bye. Oh, here's another place that's interesting looking. Didn't see this before. Glad I got a map of this area and I can find my way home. Oh, look at that. Okay, so it's not a portal, but it is a thing. So let's go up top here. There we go. I couldn't have done that better if I tried. Now, let's hope it stays quiet for a little bit. Now, back to where we was. Anyhow, diversify. Put your money in different places working for you in different ways. So, like I say, I have a couple little mini businesses. They don't make a lot currently, but they trickle. Stocks is the best thing I'm in currently. That may change over the next few months with this bull run on crypto. We'll see. And I encourage you, don't enter into crypto until you have a few other things under your belt. Can't say that enough. Number 9, have a plan. Actually have a couple. You will need a plan to get in. You need a plan or criteria to stay in and grow your value. And you need a plan to get your value out. So putting money into the stock market and having it blow up and gain value and such means nothing if you don't take profits. At some point, you have to decide when you want to sell, preferably at a profit. There's a lot of ways of doing that. You can just watch the market and then put in a sell when you decide you want to do it, or there's ways to set it up automatically through a brokerage. Doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you take profits at some point. What else we got under number 9? These are your entry plan, working strategy, and exit strategy. Investing money doesn't do you any good if you do not have a plan to get the value back out at a higher level. Tweak or modify your plans if necessary. So plans for investment are living documents. They can grow, they can change. Generally, you don't want to make snap decisions. So what I typically do if I buy a stock, I will start out buying a couple shares just to watch it in the market for a few months. If it looks promising, I'll put more money in. So let's say my goal is 500. I usually only put in 1 to 200 on starting stocks, sometimes less, and then top out around $500. So I put $500 in. I want to make sure I get my $500 back. Okay. So it's nice to see stocks doubling, tripling, quadrupling, what have you. That doesn't normally happen. Normally they'll go up 10%, 20%, 40%, and this is over a number of years. So I need to have a plan for each thing I do. Normally it's put 500 in, and if I can get to 30% increase, I will take out my cost, which will leave me with about 30% left over in the fund that's paid for, done. See if I can give you a bit better math. Put 100 in, okay? Let's say it's, I don't know, 10 shares. So we have 10 pieces. Actually, let's call it 100 shares. We went in for $1 each, which is not a very bright thing to do in some cases. 100 shares, just to make the math look nice. it goes up 30%. So your $100 is now worth $130. I would sell off $100 worth of the stock, which would be about 67 shares. That way I get my money back. I get my $100. I can put it into something else. And I can let the rest of it ride without it hurting my brain because it's already paid for. If it goes up, that's fantastic. I ain't got to worry about it. If it goes down, not what I want, but it ain't going to hurt me at that point. You get where we're going here? So you got to have a plan. And you got to have it built into that plan the idea that there are going to be times when the market's going to fluctuate. And you just got to, if you see things skyrocketing and it goes over your set point, take it at the higher number. Or adjust your set point to a higher number and make more money. Sell less shares. That way they can work for you better. Number 10 is a biggie. Use a real brokerage. Okay? Do not use a fly-by-night app on your phone. Apps are evil. Let's stress that. Apps are evil. Okay? Phone apps are one of the best ways to get hacked. First off, your accounts aren't safe using a phone. Why? Because typically people run around with Bluetooth on. Why is that bad? Well, one of my managers and friends used to be big into tech, and he would go around the store that I work in showing people how easy it was for him to take over their phones when they had Bluetooth turned on. Don't use a phone app. Can't stress that enough. Don't use phone apps. Use a computer. Go out, buy yourself a decent computer. If you can't afford a decent computer, get a cheap computer. Load it up with as many firewalls and VPN as you can. Protect yourself. Although some places are refusing VPN connection now. You will have to connect. And that has a lot to do with crypto. They don't like VPNs, even though you think they would. But yeah. It's a funky, tricky world out there. But anyhow, use a real brokerage. Who's a real brokerage? Well, E-Trade. I believe E-Trade's still around. They were running specials at one point, and I think they still do. If they do, I'll put a note in the comments and such below, or in the write-up below. They used to let you open an account with as little as $500. You go to some place like TD Waterhouse or Schwab, they're probably going to want more. I got in through one brokerage, which was then bought out by TD Ameritrade, which was then bought out by Schwab. So, yeah, that happens too, and sometimes the transfers are a little hinky. But in general, except for loss of records, your money's still safe with them. Why use a real brokerage? Well, once you have the amount of money they need to open an account, like for Ameritrade, I needed, or for whatever it was I was on there. It wasn't E-Trade, it was the other one. Rob Riney's brokerage. In any case, once you have the money and you make the application, the hard part's the application. It's filling that application out and getting all the supporting documentation. The money's not the problem. Once you get the application approved, you can start using that money to make investments. So it's not like it's gone. It's not like, hey, we need $2,500 and then you can put money in. No, you get to keep the $2,500 and then you get to use it. You just can't use it till the application clears. So like I say, it took about a month for me to do my first application. I've had to do some other things along the way. Don't take as long. But the reason why you want to use a real brokerage is you are covered by federal laws, investment laws, rules of trading, things like that. Everything has been in place for a couple hundred years. working with stocks and stock theory, and they've pretty much got it to where it's fairly safe for what we are. We are retail investors. We are not Wall Street investors. We are retail. We have tiny money going into things. Is it more expensive for us? Sure. Do we get insider trading? Not like Wall Street does. And don't let them tell you they don't, because they do. There's always something going on. Watch the news, read the newspapers, etc. They make newspapers anymore? Don't know. Showing my age again. But here's the thing. You also need to be 21. So that's why I say start at 16, start putting your money aside. You can put a little bit away for 5 years, and then when you're 21, that's your birthday present. You get to open an investment account. And buying and selling is the easy part. As I said, they're quick, easy orders that you can just type in on your computer. You're all safe, and you can track it. One thing I would generally advise you, there are services that allow you to run dummy accounts. Like Motley Fool is one of them. That's one of the things I got in on. I got in because Motley Fool was running a dummy account. Plus, I got their advice and their newsletters and such. But I could go into the dummy account and say, I want to put $100,000 into IBM. And then I could watch how it tracked in the market, how it made money, where it lost money, if I got dividends, how much, things like that. And it gave me a really good feel, and it let me fail without losing real money. So Motley Fool was around $200, I think, a year for a subscription. You need to look into it. Again, all my data is 10 years old probably. So do your due diligence, do your research. It's on you. Remember that from video number 2. Any decisions you make, those are on you, not anyone else around you. And again, this is not financial advice, just what worked for me. If you can benefit, fan-freaking-tastic. So, number 11, rule 11, determine how much risk you want to take on. Generally, more risk means greater rewards on something, but it also means you have a better chance of crashing and burning. Shotgunning all high risk is like going to Vegas and playing the roulette wheel and betting everything on number 1. You are probably going to lose. Maybe that's all right for you if you are young, or if you are young enough to recover the loss, but for me, no. So here's the thing. Don't take the easy route. The easy route will typically leave you broke. Okay? Which is why I extremely hazard you against investing in cryptocurrencies starting out. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. Can't say it enough. But determine how much risk. If you can afford to lose $5,000 and that's your life savings, I'm not going to stop you. I can't stop you. That's your choice. Everybody has to make their own choice. Just saying, don't know that I would do it. Not without a lot of research. Because I've had my pants pulled down before by people that said, hey, this is a great thing, you do it, and it looked good. And in the end, it was just a scam. Everybody can be scammed. There's nobody smart enough to avoid being scammed. Don't think you're that smart. You're not. I'm not. Nobody is. So, once you've figured out how much risk you want, and if you want low risk, there's plenty of options. If you want moderate risk, there's more. And high risk, everybody's got high risk out there. That's what they all want you to put your money in, because that's the easiest way to take it from you. So here's probably where we want to touch on inflation and interest rates. Back in my day, I had a savings account with a bank. That savings account paid me 5.5% interest per year. Okay? So if I put $100 in, at the end of the year, I would have $105.50. You don't see high interest rates like that usually anymore. Most regular savings accounts are in the 2% range. Y'all got suckered by your elders, just like I did. So here's the thing. At 1%, if you figure inflation is at 7%, you're losing 6%. So instead of getting $100 value or $105 value at the end of the year, you are literally getting about like $94. So you actually lost value. You didn't lose dollars because it'll show that you got $101, but it'll only be worth $96 because you got to take inflation into account. So this kind of guides you as to what you are looking for getting as returns on your investments. You need to make more than 7% per year. And if you are not strong in math, I suggest you go brush up because there's a lot of math involved with investing. So when I look for a dividend stock, you got to balance things. The more stable the stock, the more likely it is to be around in the future, the less likely it is to give you a good rate of return on dividends. So the dividend yield may be 4%. Oh, there's another one. We're going to break for a second while I go take care of Moni Boy up there. Where are you? All right, I am not seeing him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the sound so he doesn't annoy us too much. If he shows up, I'll beat him with an ugly stick or an ugly sword. This is my magic diamond sword. Isn't it cool? Yeah. In any case, where were we? Blah, 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 blah. We were talking about, oh yes, rates of return on investment. Or return on investment. ROI is return on investment. Rate of return is ROR. They are pretty much the same thing in a lot of cases, so there is some difference. I'll let you look it up. That's your homework assignment. What's the difference between rate of return and return on investment? Figure it out. So if you get a stock that does not vary in value, that is, the price doesn't change per share, but it pays you a dividend of 4%, and inflation is 7%, you just lost 3%. So here's a little rule of thumb that aren't in the rules. Make double digits. You need to be at 10% or above. So if you've got a retirement account through your employer or a 401k or what have you, and they've got you in mutual funds and they're all pegging out at 2, 3, and 4%, you're wasting your time. Your money is safe, but it's not growing. It's actually shrinking slowly. If you go out and you find a stock that is paying 8, 9, 10, 12, 15%, stick with those. Those are good things to hold on to forever if you can afford them. Some of those are quite expensive. And like I say, the more stable they are, chances are the less they give you. So again, higher risk. You may get 15, 20% dividend for a year, and then it may not pay you dividends for several years. You got to take that into account. So you got to look back at the track record as well. You got to see, do they ever raise their dividends over time, or do they decrease, or are they sporadic? There's all kinds of things you need to research. That said, dividends are probably your safest way to go to make money. And if you're young, then you can go out and invest in these things and spend years. Thought the wife was hollering for me. You can spend years accumulating these stocks until your retirement. So here's the other neat thing we're going to touch on, because this goes hand in hand with the other thing. When you get a dividend stock as opposed to a growth stock, and we'll talk about growth stocks in a minute. When you get a dividend stock, you can take that money that they pay you every week, month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, or every year, 6 months, and you got to look at the term that they pay out. Every time you get paid, roll that money back into another dividend stock. This is called compounding your interest. And if you don't know what compounding interest is, I suggest you look up a quote by Albert Einstein about compounding interest. That's your second homework. He had a pretty high opinion of compounded interest. So suffice it to say, when you spend $100 and they give you, say, 8%, so you're getting $8 back, you take that $8, roll it back into the stock, and the next time you get the $8 plus whatever the 10% of the $8 was. So it's $8.80. You roll that in, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It grows. It ain't fast at first. In fact, it's so slow, if you're young, you're going to become very impatient, because it is very slow to start with, especially with low dividend stocks. Thing is, again, if it's a low dividend stock, it's a stable stock, more than likely, and it'll be there when you're 40, 50, 100, what have you. So there's trade-offs. You got to balance it. Time is like a magnifying glass. Time makes that low dividend rate bigger. But of course, picking a good dividend rate stock is also, a good thing. There are currently in the market stocks that pay much higher yields. I am in some of those. I am not in for a lot of money on any given one, because I'm watching and waiting for something to go wrong. Remember, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. That said, so far, the value of the stocks have gone down. They are not a growth stock. They are a loss stock. But the dividends are staying stable. The amount of money they give me each month is staying relatively stable, which is weird. Shouldn't work that way, but it is. And I've been on some of these over a year now, year and a half, and not had significant issues. Since I put the money in and I figured I was never pulling it out, who cares if the stock goes down to, next to nothing? As long as they keep paying me my money. If they stop paying me my money, we got a problem. And again, it's all perception and attitude. It's like I put the money in and it's gone, but somebody keeps writing me a check. As long as the checks keep coming in, I'm happy. But again, you got to do the research. There's a lot of these things pop up and then they disappear. They deflate, they go boom, they go bust. Got to be careful. Put a little in, put a little more in, put a little more in. Find a place to stop that's safe for you. Now, why did I go this route? I'm taking the proceeds from these dividend stocks, which are high yield, and I'm rolling those dividends into safer dividend stocks and accumulating there. So you see how that works? I go from extremely high risk and I am bending that to my own purposes. I'm not trying to make tons and tons and tons of money off these high dividend stocks, because chances are at some point they're going to blow up and disappear. So I am locking that new value into something safer at a faster rate than I could otherwise do it just by putting my own money in. This is what I'm talking about with strategies. And there's lots out there, and there's lots of opinions. This is just what I did and what seems to have been working. And like I say, we will get more into my history as time rolls on. So of the various things, savings account, I got one. It don't pay nothing. Mutual funds, I tend to stay away from because they pay less than 7% usually. Stocks I'm in, I have not touched commodities. I have not touched futures. I have my house. That's my real estate. That's all I've got right now. Businesses, I have had a few. Some have done okay. Some have done terribly. Business, not necessarily my forte. I'm good at production. I am not good at promotion. So you kind of got to have that go hand in hand. Crypto, I've done okay. That said, I have had some really good gains, and I have had some horribly bad losses. And again, we'll get into that when I talk more about my own history. Thing is, you need to do is figure out what's right for you. Do you want to buy a building and rent it out as apartments? If you can swing it, that ain't a bad way to go, but then you got liability. What happens if the place burns down? What happens if there's a flood? What happens if it's no longer code? There's downsides to everything. Anyone who tells you they got something with no downside either don't know what they're talking about or they are lying straight up to get your money. And that's kind of what they call a pump and dump. You pump something up, oh, it's fantastic. Everybody buys in, and then you sell, and they're left holding something that's worth nothing because the price drops out the bottom. Have to be very careful about that. You also have to know a couple of terms. We're going to cover FUD and FOMO. So what is FUD? Well, basically that's bad news. It's just bad news. We're trying to talk things down. What do the kids say nowadays? We're throwing shade on a stock or a crypto or commodity or a metals market or something. It ain't worth nothing. Why am I saying it ain't worth nothing? Why am I selling? Because I want you all to panic sell so I can buy it at a much lower price and then sell it high again. And your big players on Wall Street and such, in the financial sector, this is a game they play constantly. And they prey on you and me, the retail investor. That's where they're sucking the money out of the system. So be careful. Again, be careful. Do your research, watch things. You see something hinky starting up, get out. Take your money and run. So what is FOMO? FOMO is the flip side of FUD. That's fear of missing out. And it's more dangerous than people just talking things down, because it builds up a sense of urgency in you. If I don't get this, I ain't going to make the money. Everybody else is going to have something, and I'm going to miss out on my piece of the pie. Well, here's the thing. The more urgent you feel, more likely, the more it's a bad choice. So FOMO and FUD, watch them. They are there to bend your will and get your money. I think there's anything else real quick we can cover here. We did FUD, FOMO, blah, 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 blah. We did inflation, we risk. If you make money, be happy. So here's another story. I got into stocks 8 or 10 years ago, and I had $2,500 to spend, and I bought 5 different sets of stock, one of which was a stock called Mercado Libre, which is still out there. I bought Mercado Libre at about $45. It was one of the stocks recommended by Motley Fool, that service I talked to you about earlier. So I had it, and I held it, and I did exactly what I'm telling you not to do. I sold it in about 8 months because the price shot up to like $140, $160, somewhere in that range. I think it was $165. And I'm like, oh, this is going to dump. And remember, I didn't know much back then. And even though I didn't know much, what I did know, this was the correct call. Because you can't see the future. There's no way to tell the bottom one going to fall out from under that. With that meteoric rise, there's usually a bigger meteoric fall. So I sold. And I took the money I got from that, which was $600-800, and I split it into 2 other stocks to diversify. Unbeknownst to me, Mercado Libre would eventually push up into the 2000s. So I could have potentially been able to get my hands on $12,000. You know what? I ain't crying in my Wheaties. I made money. If you make money, be happy. Do not kick yourself if you do not hit the sweet spot. Because the number of people who hit the sweet spot is next to 0. Most people will wait till something climbs, waiting for it to top out. And by the time they figure out it's topped out, it's 30% of what it was worth. And they've lost pretty much everything. So you got to take profits along the way. If you make money, take the profit, split it to something else, something new, something different. Gives you yet another chance, another ticket in the lottery. And don't put a whole lot into any one thing. Now, if your brain ain't hurting by now, I don't know what else to tell you. You have a lot to think about. Do you have the money? How are you going to get the money? What brokerage are you going to go for? You need to look for a real brokerage. You need to have one that's safe on your computer. Do not... Oh, there he is. I'll be back. Where did you go? I just saw you. There you are. Hey, you know what? I missed. You gotta die. There we go. That's why we have the magic sword. And we are in creative mode. That way he can't hurt us. But yeah, I thought I'd give you a shot of what the nether looks like here. This is Dcraft, of course. One of my projects. Oh, there's another out there, Joy. I hate ghasts. Anyhow, Dcraft. Download it, play it. If you're got a computer, you're going to need about 8 to 11 gig to run it. Oh, I see him over there. And we're going to ignore this one. 8 to 11 gig to run it. Give it a try. You can leave messages. It is technically in release, but I'm always bound to be tinkering with things. Let me know what you think, what direction I could go. I may take you up on your suggestion. You never know. And I hope you still are following the stuff we've got going on here. I have more. Like I say, I have historical accounts I can show you and stories to tell you. And a lot of other subjects. I actually was writing articles a couple years back. So we've got material. If you want to hear something else, you could always buy me a coffee, and then you can send me a message. It'll come straight to my mailbox. How you like that? 2 birds, 1 stone. Lets me know who really appreciates this stuff, and I will actually give an ear to listen. So, again, the first guy who ever did a coffee donation, thanks, Adam. Also, thanks for the follow-up email that you sent me. Loved it. Pretty much out of things to do. Remember, subscribe, hit that bell, hit that button, hit that jumpy, dancy thing. Yeah. I don't know if there is a jumpy, dancy thing. Sing a song for me. I don't care. Interact with the channel. I'd say leave a comment, but there are no comments on here. You can leave a comment on one of the other videos, one of the non-podcast videos. And I will see you when I have the next subject ready to be filmed. See, I said filmed, didn't say recorded. Back in my day, we filmed. There was VCR tape. It was horrible. No videotape, nothing. Film it. Hey, case. Howdy. This is Grampy Jag. This is an episode of Jess Talking, our podcast. You don't have to watch, but if you do, we are on the moon. This is my moon base. We're inside. Oh, you can't see the main dome. All you can see is my pretty green eyes. We are inside the main dome. And I am in creative mode because there's still issues with this oxygen contraption over here. Every now and then I just kind of go, and yeah, it ain't pretty. But if you stick around to the end, I will give you a tour of my facilities here on the moon, including the dome and downstairs where the mining takes place. And I will even take you out to the landing pad, and we are just far enough away you cannot see my rocket ship. And in the off chance that something happens and the game glitches and the rocket ship don't work, I do have matter transporters set up so I can go back to the overworld. So, oh, look at that. Look at the sun. Look at how magnificent that is. Ooh-wee. It's pretty up here. I don't think you can see the Earth right now. Yeah, no Earth at the moment. We'll see about that later. Maybe we'll see it by the end. Anyhow, at the end, if you stick around that long, I will give you a tour of the outside, the downside, and the overside. So you'll see what I have done here in my Dcraft, my original development Dcraft world on the moon. So without further ado, let's get on to the financial stuff. Okay, I have given up trying to get video 2 to where it is visible. I don't know what's going on. Can't really see the video. Can't find it. You'll have to use the link that I'm going to provide in the description, or you're going to have to search real good because I don't know why it's not going there. Or you can go through the listing. What do you call it there? Oh, geez, I hate when my brain farts. Anyhow, the list of the Jess talking episodes. In any case, let's get started. So, if you will recall, in the last 2 videos, we touched on why it is important to be investing and that you should start as early as possible. Last episode, we covered the first half of my rules list. Now, this is my rules list. This is not advice. This will and may not work for you like it does for me. This is just what I'm doing. So if you like it, if you use it and it works for you, fan-freaking-tastic. If it don't, drop it. Try something else. Yeah. So just to recap real quick, live within your means. Never invest money you can't afford to throw into a campfire. If you hear a tip from someone and act on it and it loses money, that's on you. Do your research. It's on you. It's not on them. You're the one that chose to put the money into the stuff. You didn't have to. Rule 4. Learn to think in terms of value instead of money or dollars. This can take some time to do. Blah, 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 blah. Value does not change until you buy, until you sell it, or you buy something else, or yeah. So if you buy low and it goes up, you've increased your value when you sell it there. If it goes down when you sell it, you lost money. So we always want to be trying to make money. That's what everybody wants, right? So yeah. Now, number 5 was what I was thinking number 4 was. So learn to think of money in terms of your life expended. So if a pack of smokes, yeah, I'm doing the smokes thing. It's a terrible example. If you buy a pack of smokes and it costs you an hour of wages, the benefits you get from that pack of smokes, are they worth 1 hour of your life? Think about it. You probably not be buying some stuff if you start thinking like that, because it ain't worth it. It's like buying the video game and it costs you 14 hours of your life and you only wind up playing it for 3 hours. Was that worth your life? No. You could have done something better with that 14 hours of your life. And number 6 was our bonus. It's learn, 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 learn. Doesn't matter where you learn, how you learn, just keep learning about stocks, finances, commodities, cryptocurrencies. That's another subject. Anyhow, moving on to today, we are going to finish out the last 6 rules. And if I can get my page to turn. There you go. Did you hear that? That was pages turning. 7. There will be ups as well as there will be downs as well as ups. You need to be able to deal with watching your portfolio shrink on occasion. This happens in any market, which is why you want to diversify. So if one sector of the market is going down, another sector is probably going up, and you come out level or up. That's what we want, level or up. That's your safety net. You will need to ride out the lows. Remember, if you sell on a lower point than you purchased, you are losing value. Cryptocurrencies historically have seen 40 to 50% drops to the market on a regular basis. Do not get into cryptocurrencies unless you have lead panties, because I will tell you, or stainless steel probably better, I will tell you what happened to me. I had my cryptocurrency portfolio up to about $38,000 at one point. I had made, that was like 300% up. In the space of 2 hours, count them, 2 hours, the value on my account, my portfolio, dropped to $18,000. It dropped by half in 2 hours. Okay, let that get you frosty for a second. So here's the thing. I tried selling on the way down. The market was so glutted with transactions, I barely recovered anything. As an aside, had I not sold, things would have gotten much better for me. I would have probably closed out much, much higher, because the market did eventually rebound. It took a while, but it eventually rebounded, and I probably, had I not panicked and tried to recover what I could, because you got to remember, I lost the numbers where I bought in. I bought Dogecoin at like 3 cents. When I went back to repurchase, I had to buy Dogecoin at like 24 cents. So for me to make money on Dogecoin, it's got to go way up now. If I had left it at 3, it went all the way up, I think at one point to like 88 cents, something like that. I would have made a whole lot more money. Crypto is not for the faint of heart, is what I'm telling you. So again, remember, there will be downs as well as ups. You need to ride your way through those lows. Number 8, with all markets, diversify. We kind of touched on there a second ago. 10 items may not make as much as one item that you hit on the nose, but you also won't lose as much. At least that's the theory. So retail is down, finance is up, and manufacturing is level. Chances are that you will be making somewhat more than you are losing. If you put money only into retail commodities, you will lose money, period, when that sector crashes. So that's what you got to watch out for. You can do it. You can put all your eggs in one basket. I ain't going to stop you. I wouldn't do it. Well, let's put it this way. I have kind of done it, and I got my tail whooped. So I wouldn't do it. Bad idea. Because if you know my luck, I don't have luck. I have bad luck. Don't do it. You got to play the numbers. It's a long game. This is not get rich in 3 months and you're out. This is 30, 50 years. Number 9, have a plan. Actually have a couple. You need a plan to get in. You need a plan or criteria to stay in and grow your value. And you need a plan to get your value out. Take your profits along the way. Okay? Take your profits along the way. If you put money in and you put money in and you put money in and it goes up, doesn't mean nothing if you try and catch the top, because that's what everybody else is going to do. So once it gets there, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be late and you're going to lose. So as you're going up, sell a couple things off. You can buy back in later if you want, but sell a few things off, recover some of your initial investment. Typically, I like to put money in a stock, and I will watch that stock, and what I am looking for is for it to triple up, and if it triples up, I will sell off a goodly chunk of my investment so I can recover my initial money I used to buy it. That way, whatever happens to that stock after you get your money back, it's all gravy. And if it tanks, who cares? We got our money back out. We didn't lose anything. We just didn't make money. That's another thing we're going to have to discuss. If I don't have it in the rules, remind me, we'll come back to that. So what's the rest of this one? Investing money doesn't do you any good if you do not have a plan to get the value back out at a higher level. That's what we say. Tweak or modify your plans as necessary. That does not mean redo things every day. It means I'm going to follow this plan. I'm going to follow it for at least 6 to 12 months. Typically, I look at my stuff twice per year, and one of those times I will reorganize my accounts a little bit, get rid of things that have basically turned to garbage, and again, like I say, sell out a little bit on some of the things going up so I get my initial investment back. Use a real brokerage. This is number 10. Do not use fly-by-night apps on your phone. That is the general rule. It's general. There are places where using an app could be beneficial to you. In my case, don't do it. But you, depending on your case, like say, here's an example. Say you're young, you're like 21, you're now able to invest. Your parents never had the talk. They never told you how to save money, how to grow your money for your retirement. They just said, "Ha, you're on your own. Good luck." I'm telling you, if you are young and you have issues saving and living within your means, this is the one place I would use an app. I would get one of them things like, what's it called? Acorn Walnut, something like that, where it rounds up your purchases and lets you purchase fractional shares. Generally, fractional shares are not a real thing, which is why I don't advise using these things if you actually can afford a real brokerage. But if you have no other way, no other discipline, no other luck, then go with one of these services. Get that 20, 30 cents rounded up on your purchases so that it starts working for you. Have them start buying partial shares of something. There's lots of good stuff out there. I ain't going to tell you what, but there's a lot of good stuff out there. Just put it in there and park it for, a year, 3 years, 5 years, however long it takes you to actually get on your feet, saving money and investing. Once you have $3,000 to $5,000, you want to move that money out of that app and into a real brokerage, like Schwab, Fidelity, You know, all these big name places you hear on the news at night. Well, you all watch news at night. I don't think you do. I think you just do YouTube. It was better when we had regular news every night. It was also better when you couldn't Photoshop everything, so, you know, couldn't sway the truth. We actually had about 20, 30 years there where we could actually tell what was truth and what was garbage. It's gone again. Anyhow, we're getting off the topic here. So a real brokerage, do not use a fly-by-night app on your phone. First off, your accounts are not safe on your phone. Second, most apps are scams in some way. Hidden fees, something. There's usually something that just isn't quite copacetic. For stocks, I use Schwab. For crypto, the best starting point I've found is Coinbase. Particularly if you know nothing. You need a way to get your money in and your money out. Now, I'll be quite honest, at the time of this recording, things have gotten much easier for getting your money into and out of cryptocurrencies. Back when I started, wasn't so much. There weren't but a couple of on-ramps, as they were called. Coinbase was one of them. The hardest part about using a brokerage is that you need to be 21 and you need to fill out the initial paperwork. The initial paperwork took me quite a while, but it wasn't the insurmountable. The buying and selling of stocks is the easy part, especially if you're young, because if you goof, you still got 30, 50 years to fix it. I'm a whole lot older. I'm about to go and apply for my Social Security. I don't have the option of time. And this becomes scary relevant as you get in your 40s and on up. You're cruising along through your 30s into your early 40s. Everything's cool. You hit about 47 and you realize body ain't working. Got to send your wife to get surgeries constantly. You know, your mom has things happening. What you gonna do? It gets harder and harder the older you get in some ways. So start now. That is the single most important thing you can do. Start now. And don't sell. Well, you got to sell, but don't take the money out of the brokerage. Keep it in there. Leave it in there. It's not a savings account. That's probably the hardest thing to get through to young people. So that's why I'm drilling you so hard. It's not a savings account. It's not something to save your butt halfway down the road. It's to save your butt at the end of the line. When you can't work. When you don't want to work anymore because you're physically too old and cranky and sore. Like me. Anyhow, I digress. 11. Determine how much risk you want to take on. I don't want to take on the risk I'm taking on. I have to. It's the only way I'm going to make my money. You don't need to take risk. You shouldn't take risk. If you're young. If you're in the middle there, it's kind of a toss-up. Generally, more risk means greater rewards on something, but it also means you have a better chance of crashing and burning. Shotgunning all high risk is like going to Las Vegas, playing roulette, and betting everything on one number. You are probably going to lose. Especially with some of the new products they got out that I'm into, which are the high yield monthly, weekly, and they're now going to twice a week paying ETFs. These look really cool because it's like, oh my God, I put money in, look at all the money I get back out. It just sounds too good to be true. Watch out for that statement. Because it probably is. I'm in it. I am not in it for the long haul. I do not have all my money in it. I am using these ETFs in order to purchase real stocks or roll over into real dividend stocks. What do I mean by real? Things that have been around for years, things that are probably going to be around for years, things that pay dividends consistently at a regular level. Okay. These new ETFs, they're cool, they're interesting. I am not entirely convinced still that they are going to last. So I do have a chunk of money in there, but I keep an eye on that. I'm checking that at least every month, if not more. If something starts to crash and burn, you need to get out. I mean, you can sit there and say, oh, we'll wait and see if it comes back. You know what? It probably won't, has been my... I've seen it happen. I've seen things come back. But more often than not, I've seen things just go right down to zero. And it, oops, you didn't need to see that. Go right down to zero and it's gone. By the way, if you were just listening, you were saved some embarrassment. You know, it might be all right for you because you're young and dumb, like I was young and dumb at one point, and I recovered. It didn't kill me to make a mistake. It was a learning experience. You learn better when you fail than when you succeed. That said, failing is not pleasant. Nobody likes it. So I'm trying to alleviate you of a little bit of that problem. Not all of it, but a little bit. Number 12. There are numerous ways of investing for wealth. Savings accounts, bonds, mutual funds, stocks, commodities, futures, real estate, business, crypto, and likely much, much more that I can't even think of at this point. Figure out which ones are right for you. What works for me may not and probably will not work for you, but I will share some of my journey with you. And you can see where I did well, and you will see what things went bankrupt on me where I lost my shirt. Yeah. This last... how do you put this politically correct? This last presidential cycle sucked. It was horrible. This new presidential cycle has been fantastic. It shouldn't make a difference, the person who's our president, but it does. And just to let you in on a secret, my crypto has gone up, God, tenfold in the last 8 to 12 months. My stock portfolio has doubled in the last 8 to 12 months. You say, wow, that sounds pretty good for crypto. No. You're missing the point here. It's the person who supports the economy, the person that people have faith in to support the economy. Now, I don't know if he's going to go and louse it up. He could. Let's be honest. He's only human. And let's be honest, he's a businessman and a politician. So, is it the best choice we could have had? No, because they never give us good choices. But I am doing way better this 4 years than I did the last 4 years, and that's a good thing. We'll get into that more and what's gone on in my time as an investor. Probably next time we'll start getting into the meat and cheese. Speaking of cheese, yeah, I don't think there's any cheese on this moon. In some packs there are. You have cheese on the moon. I don't think I have any on the moon in this pack. But in any case, that's basically the end of the financial part. If you want to actually take a look at the screen now, we can show you what's going on. And I am in cheat mode. So I can go outside without my helmet on. Like I explained earlier, little problem with this oxygen unit over here. I think this is too big and I need a second unit to fill the dome because I can walk 3-4 steps and I won't have any oxygen. Then I'll walk 3-4 steps and I can take my helmet off. But if I sit still, suddenly the oxygen disappears and I croak. So that's why I got no helmet on. Don't do this in a real world. You will suffocate. Look at it. Yeah, I fooled you. So let's go take a look. Ooh, we just had a glitch or a lag. Let's go take a look Oh, you know what? The jetpack doesn't work when you're in cheat mode. Well, that's kind of sad. Anyhow, this is my rocket ship. I built it to be kind of steampunky. It's got most of the thrust is up here, so it's a little different than what you normally see. We got our little lanterns up there to give us light and such. And we got a torch way up on the end. By the way, if you look at these torches, these are different from these. If we were actually in the dark, you would see and we were in the normal game, you would see that the torch goes out. So I may pop back into survival mode, and you can see what the torch does when it goes out. But right now, we're going to go in the lower level. Instead of dropping through the tube, we're just going to go in this way. See that? Ain't that cool? Them sliding doors, love those. Ooh, we have Ethereum up here and lots of tin. We got a lot of everything up here, it seems like. So this is it. This is the mining room. Look at that. Cool, isn't it? Got chiseled limestone. I got regular limestone. I got more chiseled limestone. I got rainforest jasper. This is like really cool stuff. I love this stuff. And then the lights are station lights from Advanced Rocketry. Gives you a little different sort of look. This is a warmer lighting. It's glowing glass, and it's got kind of a yellowish tint to it. So I've got the harsh hot white, and I got the warm yellow down here. The mellow yellow. Oh, this, I bet you this is out too. Let's take a look. Oh, that must come down all the way from the... Yeah, that's why I was out. I was out of oxygen when I came up here. It'd been a while. Let's see. Let's put our helmet on and see if I have pressure down here. There we go. Yes, game mode 0. Much easier than what you do now. Alright, your game has been updated to survival mode. Atmosphere type is vacuum. Yeah, I can't breathe this. These are glitchy as all get out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It depends on what you got for like how closed it is, what you use to close the areas up with, etc. Oh, let's see. If I close that, will we get better? I don't even hear the vents running. Charcoal's still good. We got not much oxygen's getting down there. I'll have to look at the piping. I don't think I went through an entire drum this fast. Anyhow, this is the mine. Oh, there it goes. Now it's trying to fill. No oxygen there. No, it's trying. It ain't doing it, but it's trying. Anyhow, this is the mining unit. We got the power plant, and this is the fuel that goes in. These pull water from below to run these engines. They require fuel and water. Because I'm using the gaseous fuel, it's clean, and I don't have to keep bailing gunk out of them. It clogs everything up. We pull from wherever it is we are mining, and it comes up and goes into these chests. And this is one of the things we're really looking for. It's easy to get moonstones on the moon. It's easy to get dilithium ore on the moon. That is worth coming up here all... It's like finding helium-3 and 4. It's cool. And these are all sorted. See, we've got our little sort pipes. So everything I want comes in here. There goes the oxygen. And then the overflow goes in here. And then I can load it all up into cartridges and cart it back down to the planet. Meat and potatoes. You ain't seen nothing yet. Thump. Look at this. This thing is so extensive that I had to put signs up. North Drive, main corridor. So I have not really done anything in the other directions yet. This is all, everything I've pulled has come out of these corridors, and I'm going to run. All right, so this is the main junction. And these guys are everywhere. I have already cleaned this corridor, and I have stripped this corridor, and I am almost done. I think I have one more location. And then I got to modify how I am searching for ore. Down here, well, there's nothing there right now. I don't know what I had going in there. Something went in there. Over here, though, this is where all the cobblestone comes, and it goes into the crafter, and it gets crushed down into quadruple. So if we look over here, yeah, quadruple compressed cobblestone. 5 times 64, so 5 stacks plus 36. That's a lot of cobblestone. And we got these spot loaders all along. Every chunk has one of these. Wow, it's even trying to put oxygen down there. It's not making it, but it's trying. Each of these spot loaders keeps one chunk loaded so that these pipes don't start spewing stuff everywhere. You really don't want to go to all the trouble of having 4 quarries operating and then have all of your ores get spewed all over the corridor halfway back and then despawn on you. It is not. See, in case I forget where I'm at, North Drive, East, and because I'm reading, that means I am going away from the center location we want to be at. But yeah, go back to run mode. Isn't that cool? Whee! There we are. So that brings us here. This is our junction. And again, you got to play with this and you got to lay it out right, because if you don't, it doesn't go balanced on what feeds to what and what comes out to what, which is partially why we got the iron pipes in here. Once they hit this junction, they can only go this way. They can't backflow. And then we got another one up here. It's got the 3 blocks, so everything comes into this center one and then out and down the road. And that pretty much, in a nutshell, is the moon. I mean, you can see other stuff outside. It's kind of bleak. I'm trying to prettify it. I was in the middle of building a radio antenna. I never did get the dish up. I got the base up. It's been a while since I've been up here and working on stuff. Woo! There we go. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Yep. Come on, let me in. There we go. I don't want to do that. I wanted to close this. There we go. No air breathable. Why is there no air breathable when you keep trying to put stuff out? Again, I don't understand it. Let's take a look from the outside one last time, and I will be on my way. I tell you what, you really get some height with these with this jetpack. It doesn't stay running constantly though. That's the one thing I don't like about the advanced rocketry one. But that's my dome, and this is where this big tube over here is where the radio antenna is supposed to come out, the big dish. And you actually have oil and such on the moon, which is why these derricks are up here. And there's also peoples of a sort or such. So you have different constructs on the moon also. You got bones, all kinds of stuff. I digress. Time to let you go. We will work on hopefully another episode shortly. I know I said that before, but this time I mean it, because I want to actually get into taking you on the journey I've had the last several years. Well, that I've actively been in doing this for the last several years. Because I've been interested in stocks and such ever since I was in high school. Never had an opportunity. Don't know that I could have if I did have an opportunity, because the way things worked back in the day. But you have so many benefits with stocks and finance and such that I never had. The hardest part for you is going to be getting started and being able to put money into it on a regular basis. If you can do that one little piece and you can get past the paperwork to apply, you are going to be golden, as long as you don't go too risky. I must have a leak in there someplace. Oh well, we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye. You have fun. Invest wisely. Ta. Hello? Anybody still here?